Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here. And today I'm working on an altered book. I've already torn out the pages. I'll show you that in a second. And this is my project for Arm's Length Art with the Facebook group Crafting with Eyes Wide Open, run by Brenda Clark, who is the Simple Crafter on YouTube. And so I've already done the book. If you want to gut a book and create something with it, there are thousands of videos. Gail Agostinelli does a whole series. Treasure Books does a series. Shabby Dabby Doodah, Roxy's Creations. I could go on and on. There are lots of people who take apart books and repurpose them. They all have great tips, great methods. I've picked up tips from all of them. I kind of do my own thing, but there's always some great pocket ideas that I scoop, and I have different methods sometimes of tearing out my pages or cutting out my pages. So it's kind of, for me, it's what I always call flavor of the month. I don't necessarily do the same thing all the time. So to show you a video on it, just it's been done. It's been done over and over and over again. So do visit these other channels. Just put in Altered Book in a search on YouTube, and you will find lots of videos on it. My project today is to just work on getting things off my desk. I grabbed a bunch of scrap papers out of my paper tray, and I have this book. So I've already gutted the book and glued the pages. And you can tell that it's quite thin now. But I imagine this is going to grow. I don't imagine it's not going to alligator, because by the time I'm done, it will be quite a wide mouth, I'm sure. Plain, ordinary, vintage book. I know it's pre-1916. There was no copyright date, although there was reference to 1896 in here somewhere. It is a religious book. Internal Mission of the Holy Ghost. Written by a priest, I believe. I have a whole box of these books. So I've been slowly using them up. I do love the red covers, and I have used some of them as a red covered book, but this one I decided to gut and use for an altered book. Now I made this an altered pocket book for the most part. So most of the pages in here are converted to pockets, which I'll show you again in a second. And my idea was to just store some already made ephemera in here and some scrapbook papers and die cuts and cards and stuff. And I would probably sell it as a book like that, or gift it to somebody or something. I'm not sure yet. It's just a book to play in, use up some of my scraps, and get things off my desk. So it's mostly pockets with a few plain pages. Now, because it's got a lot of religious content that, it's back in the early 1900s, it's not necessarily favorable content. There's no scriptures in here. There's nothing really super interesting to keep. And I'm not an overly religious person that it would mean something to me. So I've kept the first few pages. I may collage over top of them. I'm not sure at this point what the plan is, but the rest of it has been made into pockets. Now I've cut out or torn out or pulled pages out in between. This was made up of signatures. I don't know if you can see that or not, how it looks. A lot of the pages I cut out, only because these books are old, and rather than stress the signature papers, sometimes the string is pretty weak. I've got some glue strands here. So rather than pull out the pages or tear them, I figured it'd be easier to just cut them. So all of the cuts are kind of in between the pages that I put together. So for example, I have this page, and then I probably cut out 3 or 4, and then took this page, glued the two together to make my pocket. So this is a large pocket here that I can put a larger journal card or tag in it. I can have things sticking out. I'm not sure at this point. I did go and put in a few things in the pockets just to give me an idea how thick everything is going to be. But it's not to say that's what's going to stay in there. So I'm going to just kind of work on each page individually and see what happens. So like in this case, I'll probably leave this in here. And because it's a part page, I'm just going to collage over top of this to loosely cover up some of the script or text that's written on here. So I'll just go through this a little bit. So then here I've got a whole blank page. I will probably cover this with a paper that is something I can write on. It's about a 7-inch book, I think. Let me just reach. Oh, I've got a ruler right here, Kim. Yeah, it's about 7 inches, 7 1/4. So, and then the pages are about 5 by 7. So I would probably cover it with a 4 by 6 sheet. In fact, yeah, here's my scrap that I said 6 inches by 3 1/2. So I will cover it with something approximately that size so that it gives me a nice clean page to journal on if I decide to keep this as a journal, and then all the pockets to fill with handmade ephemera. And again, I thought it would be something that I could use to get stuff off my desk. The only problem is in creating this, now I did start it upstairs, so half the pages are upstairs, but I have all these book pages, so the other half of the book pages are upstairs. So I don't know how much it's clearing things off my desk unless I do a big mass make of some tags or something using all those journal pages. But I don't really want, or book pages, I don't really want to use book pages in here as part of the decorating if a lot of the book is showing. So I have a pocket here, and then 2 pages that I can play on, and then I have, this is a side pocket. I don't know if I have something I can show you to fit in there. Oh, maybe this will. Yeah, so this is a side pocket here. But on each side of the pocket, there's plenty of room to decorate. On this one, I have just tucked something in here. So this is like a half pocket with another full pocket up here. You know, some people make top-loading pockets. Here's one that I did do as a top-loading. I don't know if this will fit, probably not. But so a top-loading pocket right there. This one I cut into pieces. Now, I watched several people, because I didn't normally do this, and so I did watch a couple of videos just to see what everybody was doing. I don't like this. I find it annoying for me. And, you know, you do have to cut it separate. I'm just going to stick this in between so you can see better. You do have to cut them away from each other so that they flip easier. But it's in here now, so I will decorate them. And I just put some cardstock in here to see what the thickness was like and what kind of size of piece I could get in here. So this is just to give me an idea of how the book will fill. I'm thinking that I will decorate first and then go back and fill the pockets. That's what I'm thinking. So then there are a couple pages that I just left a single page, which they may have to come out depending on how full the book gets. I have a page here where I've got 2 pockets, and this is just a flat back on the other side. So just 2 pockets here with the possibility of a writing page on this side. This, I call this the letter K, although I don't know what it is. So you fold 2 pages over. This comes from Treasure Books. Natasha from Treasure Books. She does this corner pocket. So you can technically fit 2 papers in here. It's still the same pocket with the exception only to that little piece, keeping it separate, but you know, it does show as 2 pockets. To me, it looks like the letter K, so that's what I'm going with. There's the K. And then again, I did these half pockets. Not fond of them, but they're in here now, and I will just decorate them individually, so you can kind of flip them back and forth. I can't remember who this was, but I did change it up from what they had originally come up with. But it would hold something on the side there or in this way, and then hold something in here as well. So you get kind of a double pocket effect. You can't put anything really large in here unless it's narrow. So again, not one of my most favorites. And then a triple one here, but these are torn instead of cut or folded. And just put one little paper in here. This one is just a single page, but I already put in something that I thought I could use to make a flip out. It's not glued down or anything, but it's just to remind me that I might want to do some flip outs on these pages, which would give me additional writing space, and then something decorative. But that again is all dependent on how well the book holds up for thickness. So another single page. I think this was a second one. Yeah, this was I put a couple in here this time. I think these were supposed to be glued together, and then I changed my mind and kept two single ones. Then I did a half pocket here, so maybe a long bookmark would go in here. Here I split the pages up in three. This is a fold over in here, so it's a little spot to tuck something, and then there is an actual pocket. So you use 3 book pages in order to make this. Again, not my favorite. I don't like this little flippy stuff. That's just me. But I did it to try it, and you do have to leave space in between so that the pages flow a little bit better. As you're doing this, because you're taking out a lot of pages in between and then trying to glue the 2 outside pages together, there's always going to be a little bit of warping and buckling. So you do have to play around in order to get it to glue properly. But once you fill the pages with stuff, it's going to be less noticeable. And then this one was a take on something that Natasha did, but I, again, changed it. I didn't quite like what she did with it. If you go and follow one of her videos, or her altered book video, you'll see. So something could go in sideways or straight up and down, but you are limited. The only thing is I added the little pocket on the outside. Do I have something here? Yeah. So that I can, again, use this for something else. But you are limited to the size because you don't want it sticking out of the book, and the height because it would be too flip-floppy and not sit right in the corner here. So you really want something that you stick on the side, or maybe even a triangular piece that you put in here. Same with this one. So you're limited to how far down you can go because where your item ends in the page, or if you go in sideways, then you'd have to cut it shorter so that it fits. And that's why I don't care for those kinds of pockets. I like to be able to maximize when I'm doing journals. My journals are not necessarily for decoration just as it is. I like to have some usefulness. I like to have some full-size pockets. I want to be able to use the book because the whole point of journaling is to use the book. So here's another one where I've done it. I eventually started to repeat the same designs again. And then a blank page. This one's got a pocket, except I did it on that side. I really don't like that idea either. I'm being very fussy today. But yeah, so it's on this side, which leaves me a blank page here to journal on. But I would prefer to have them all on the right side so that you see them as you turn the page. Another blank page. This one now I tore it from the top just so you can see there how I just ripped it and then inked it and then glued it together. Blank page, a couple of torn pages. I also did a lot of round cornering in this book this time around. Just flavor the month today. So I was in the mood to round corner the edges on a lot of these. Haven't done that with these single pages because at this point I don't know what I'm doing with them. So they may end up being pockets of some kind. They may end up getting a pocket on them, and then I will decide. Or, I may even tear them out. I'm not sure. This was another one of these flip things, except I made a little outside flap instead of tucking it in. And then on the bottom here, I made it so that it's a top tuck. So you can put something larger in here And it can sit separately from this one or vice versa. It can be in front to kind of hold down this part a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Very wishy-washy today, huh? I think I've been like that all week. Another blank page, another letter K pocket. One of my more favorites. It is one that buckles very easily, but you know, if you play around with it and glue it straight up and hold it like this, you do get the items to stand up and straighten up pretty nicely. Just a couple pieces I stuck in here. Another one of these. Now this one, same thing. Have to go from that side and that side to get the full length that's possible with whatever you're putting it in, unless you play on the page itself and put some unusual pieces in here. It's a possibility. This page was tearing, so I just reinforced it with some washi tape and glue, so hopefully that holds together. And another blank page, another 3 torn, you know, 2 pockets, torn pages. I like these. This one buckled a little bit. When you hold it up straight, it looks nice. When it's down, not so nice. But once there's something that has some dimension and, you know, maybe some embellishments on it, it won't be as noticeable. And blank side pockets, you know, just a simple side pocket. So this would fit a really nice size journal card or writing board. I do plan in some of these pockets to put notebooks so that there is more writing space and less dependent on the book itself, because it all depends on how I can cover it and you know, how it works from there. I didn't cut out as many pages as they normally tell you to cut out. I cut out less. So that is probably going to cause me more bulk. But in the end, it was to give me more pages to work with. So we'll see if that's works against me. Otherwise, I might be tearing some stuff out in between. So I might be decorating a few things here and a few things there and then cutting out in between. We'll see. So maybe every third pocket I will decorate and then see where I end up, and then go back and do every second pocket, and then so on and so on, until I finally have to rip some up. So there's that one, another blank page. Now this is another top loader. I made it a little bit wider to accommodate something, you know, like a full size shipping tag or something. And then the rest I just left because I was running out of steam and not sure again what's going to happen as the book fills. So I will start with decorating every third page, or you know, one, and then leave 2 and then decorate the next one. And at the same time I will fill them so that there again I have a much better idea of how much I will use in this book. So to decorate them, it's going to be very, very simple, very flat collage, you know, things like some tissue paper, napkins, whatever I've got to decorate them. I'm just going to grab a glue book. Well, I can grab a book page because I sure have enough of those. So these are all lightweight paper, so it's the same kind of thing that I would use. And my glue stick is here. The one thing about tissue paper is that you can glue right on it, not like napkin. And it doesn't tear on you. And so I'm just going to add some of that over top. And then if I do want to add some napkin, do I have one here? Yeah, I do. I have a piece of napkin that's now I'm just going to loosely follow the Now what I'm going to do is cover it with, you know, just some napkins and tissue and light paper, and then I will go back and add, you know, general stuff, the label, the bird, the butterfly, that type of thing. So just taking my napkin, going along the edge of the page, I'm going to lift it, put down a little bit of glue, glue this in place. This is how I glue napkins. And then I will turn the page a little bit. And glue following the napkin. Smoothing it into place. Now, I'm not too worried if I get glue on this side, because by the time I actually get to the next page, this is going to be dry. So, and the whole idea is to use up this book. I'm lifting that tissue now. To use up this book, use up the papers, the scrapbook papers that are in my tray. Although I don't know I'll ever see that end of that. And use up some labels and create collage. So I've got those two things going on here. This is lifting again, just because I'm on camera. And, you know, there's just a little bit of text showing here. I will, again, cover with a label or a flower. I may do some ink stamping on the pages. So I'm going to be playing with this all day Saturday. And like today is Friday. I'm showing you this, even though this video isn't going to air till Saturday. But I will be playing all day on this. And as I go along, I will stop and start the camera and show you my progress. So now the thing is to cover the inside of that page. It is far easier to use a piece of paper to cover inside there than to try and get tissue in a napkin. If I hadn't pre-glued these, then it might be okay. But so all I'm going to do is find a piece approximately, and I'm going to go just a little bit larger than the where the pocket starts. So I'm just going to tear Now I could have tore with my ruler, but we'll just try like this and see what happens. And so you can see I don't really need very much. So if it goes to there, yeah, I'm going to just tear that off so it doesn't interfere with anything. And the easiest way to do this is to put a little bit of glue on the page itself, and then slide this inside, knowing that the glue, except I keep touching that thing, I'm eventually going to have to just rip it off, I think. Knowing that the glue isn't going to stick to the paper because I didn't go very far inside. And then I will go back with my white tacky glue and glue along the edges to glue that in place. And I can still trim it with some washi tape. I can still add some ink stamping on here and different collage things to make it look less lined and square, if that makes sense. I'm not fond of this line, so I will probably, you know, add some washi tape or something to a type of collage to make it look less square. But once this page is done, I will put something inside here, whether I stop to make something or go into my stash of things that are made, but then I know I've got this page done. However, I still have to do the back side of it, so that's not quite done yet. And then I will skip these next two for now and go on to the third one. It's going to possibly, you know, depending on how much I have to take out of here, I may lose key pockets every time I'm, you know, on every row, that I'm limited to what style of pockets I have. But I'm going to carefully cut these out and then close them off so that I could use them as floating pockets in other journals if that's the case. So this might end up being a very plain, ordinary book without a lot of fancy pockets. Or, you know, if I leave these two and then come back and I can choose which one I want to keep and which one I don't want to keep. So then I might, you know, decide to do to decorate page number 3 instead of page number 2, so that if in the case I have to tear this out, this is the one I'm losing. You know, and I know I have several of these in here, and you know, and it's a pretty generic plain pocket anyway, so that might be an option for me as well. So once I've done this pocket, done some journaling space on the back side so it can be used, then I will skip to and do the third pocket, which is now a top loading pocket. So that's where I'm at. I will show you my progress by the end of today, Saturday, and take it from there. Hopefully I get rid of all of this paper that's on my desk and these napkins, and then have some fun collaging and filling it. That's it for now. See you in a couple of seconds. And I'm back. Holy moly, do I work fast, eh? I turned the camera on and just quietly worked here, and then because I wanted to do this fast forwarding and seeing how it would work in a video, I ended up having to cut it short because Tom came in and was asking me some questions. But I figured out, just for the fun of it, I'm going to put it in the book or in the video. So here I am. This is as far as I got. It's mid-afternoon Saturday, and I figured I will show you where I'm at right now. And then I will have to call it a day and continue to work on this during the week sometime, and maybe have a follow-up on Friday to show you the end result, if I get it finished by then. So it's already starting to fill in, and I haven't done very many pages, but it's I think I'm going to let it grow a little bit more. Even if it does get alligator, I will put a rivet through here probably and tie it tight so that it does stay flat. And I have been filling the pages as I go along, so I'll let you see all that as well. So there's the first 2 pages. Didn't do anything with those yet. They will probably just have some blank paper put on them to write on. Here's the very first one. I think you saw it with just a couple of things on it. Yeah, I think the this paper and stuff, right? I've just added a plain little postcard journaling card on the inside of here. Lots of collage. This is just to use up all of these bits of napkins, this tissue paper. This is kind of a mulberry paper, a handmade paper, but mulberry. And using up the washi tape, and then, stamps, labels, birds, butterflies. It's a great way to collage differently than I do in an altered book or in a journal. So there's the first page, and then on the back side of it, I did add a piece of plain paper and then collaged around it. This is, again, a great way to use up bits of washi tape and scraps, and just fun. And this paper actually, I don't know if I can reach it. Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, knock everything down, Kim. This paper comes out of this notebook. Oh, I love this paper. It's just plain writing pages with birds and a little bit of travel on it. So that's what this is. And I just cut up a page, and then as I use it, I use the scraps as well, which you'll see later on. And so there's the back. So this can be written on now. There's a journaling card. You could add other papers in here if you were using this as a traveling journal. And then I skipped a couple of these. So I still have that paper sitting in here to place mark it. And this is the one you watched me do very quickly. Now, a couple of key things that I was showing you was I took a Canada stamp, a used stamp, and I just put a piece of napkin over it because I didn't like the picture. I think the picture was curling, didn't quite fit in with this, but I really wanted the red color. I wanted something to stand out. There's a little tiny bit of red in this washi tape I used, and up here as well, so I just wanted to pull that red. You watch me how quickly I made a choice of label that I was going to put here, just flipping them through. Man, I'm fast. My journaling card still could probably use something on it. It's just a page that I took out of one of these, I paid $3.97 for this book. It's a great book. It's called The Gilded Orchard. It's a matte stack from scrapbooking days, and it's older than, pretty much since the beginning of scrapbooking. But I do once in a while come here and pull a page out of it when I'm working in these kinds of colors, because it's all you have to do is round the corners, and you saw, just add a little bit of decoration. I may go back yet and add something here, but right now I just wanted to fill the page. And then I always like to add some of the elements, the scrappy bits before it goes in the bin, to the back side of these, because it just adds a little bit of interest on the back side as well. So that's what went in there. And then, labels. Birds, butterflies, that type of thing. So then on the back side here is where you saw me fill in this collage of bits and pieces, doing some ink stamping. It's kind of whatever comes to mind at the moment that I'm doing this. And again, it's just to use up the little bits of napkin and the little pieces here and there to fill it in, and then be able to write on it as well. So I skipped these two. Skip this page, which is just a single page, and then skip this one because I want to go on to the letter K. This one got a little crazy. Now I've pinned in this butterfly. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I may just leave them in there, so if I do sell a book, the person who gets the book can do what they want. Added a real stamp on here. The word specimen is what started all the butterflies, and so because it's got this deep pocket, I have one pinned to that corner, and then I just have two butterflies, larger, same designs, on the inside. Now, I will come back to this another day, but so on the inside, I put some origami paper that I had, and it was large enough that I think it was a 6x6. So I glued it onto the inside of here to make the pocket. And then I flipped it over onto this side, and it became a flip out board that I can use to write on. And then you can see again, this time I used the end pieces to finish off that piece of paper, and then started a new one up here. A little bit of washi, just the same things added in all around, inked and labeled and that kind of stuff. And when these butterflies are in here like this, I just pin them in with the paper clip. I don't know if that's what I'm doing with it right now. I'm just gonna leave it in there only because it said specimen. I figured, well, I should have some kind of specimen in here. And this was just a label in the pot there that I had to use up. So, but when I turned it over, it holds this paper down. So I had the same butterflies, small, medium, and large. So the two medium ones just get tucked into here. You could use these to write on. You could use them to further enhance your page, or you could take them out altogether. But it was just a complementary colors and kind of the specimen. So I'm really liking this. It's a full page though. But I really liked how this one turned out, and you got to see part of it in action before I got cut off. I had to take a break after working that hard. So then I skipped this page, skipped this one, although I do come back to one of these shortly, and I skipped this one. This is the 3 torn pockets. And then I went on to just do a plain page. So this is just some napkin, labels, birds, that type of thing, larger label, just to keep it nice and flat. And then when you flip it over, this is where I had that little flippy piece that I said I was going to tuck in. So that got glued down first, and then I collaged on here. And so that now became a flip out for the back side, which again, I used some notebook paper and to have the lined paper and collaged around it. I like how this one turned out. It's kind of completely different from the front, but again adds interest. Because this was a flip out, I thought I would, probably put something onto a paper clip to just represent, or a tab or something. I'm not sure yet. But I just figured, well, I'll stick some labels in here so that if it does go for sale, these are things that could be used in the journal as well. I'm not leaving a lot of room for additional decorating, but it's not to say if some of the single pages if I don't. But these labels could be used for other things, and it's just adding more interest and collection to what's here. And, somebody may want to write down here and then use a label, or write in here and use a label in that corner as well. So it's all, how they decide to play. So I left this page, left the half page that is for a bookmark. Don't know if I'll get to that or not. And then I tackled the 3. Blech. I mean, I love how they've turned out. Don't get me wrong. I do love how they turned out. I'll turn this way so you can see it better. But it's 3 times the work is what it is, because whatever I did to this, I had to do 2 more times. So I collaged on the front, and I used some tissue paper, and then collaged small pieces. On the inside, they each have one of these little mini tag booklets, or little mini notebooks. And this is just strips of paper with a strip of cardstock paper over top, and then a little rivet. I thought maybe I would add something into here, but not until I know how full the book is. So that's used to fill it. And then there's a label, and then there's a couple of tickets. And the same with these two. They have another one of those little notebooks, and you know, a little image that you can glue in or use for something else. Now, because this also has the pocket, they each have a pull-out tag that you can journal on the back and stick back in here. And the little bit of fibers that I've added here stick outside of the book anyway, so they don't cause any thickness. However, this does cause a little bit of thickness in the book. So, you know, it's going to haunt me after as to what comes out of here in order to accommodate this, because, well, it's going to be pretty chunky book by the time I'm done. And would I do these again? Well, maybe if my memory helps me to forget how much I didn't enjoy it. We'll see. But, you know, for the most part, no, I don't like it, because whatever you do, you have to do 3 times. I mean, they could have all been different as well, but it just, I couldn't move on until all 3 were done. The only thing I do like is that you can flip one, flip the other, and flip the third. That's the only thing I like. The back side, I just carried on by bringing the papers around a little bit and using some washi tape and then some scraps to give you spaces to write. Got to use up some more of these washi stamps and stickers. So that always makes me happy, because I don't know where I got this collection. I have this huge collection of that stuff. So then, instead of skipping pages, I went onto this page only because I really wanted to do this page. And when I found these leaves to put inside, now you can just barely see, I think. This is, you may have to zoom in, I'm not sure, but this is kind of that little corner that I flipped up. And these leaves, I believe they came from Hazel. Hazel, did these come from you? If not, they came from Kim. But, you know, whoever gave them to me, thank you. I love these. And I was planning, I have quite a stack of them, and I was planning to collage on top with some glittery stuff. But for this book, they just fit so nicely into this corner, because that little thing goes right into the corner here. So that is perfect to use as a journaling card. All I did was added a little bit of ink here to tone down the orange. Napkin in the background here, that's this napkin here that I used. I think this came from Deborah Ibram from DLI Creations. I think that's her name on YouTube. But yeah, that's the napkin I used. I had to bring in another napkin because I needed orangey type colors, and this is the only napkin that had those colors. This is coming up for my next one here. A collage of labels. I wanted to introduce the purple in here because my plan was to use this purple paper. Now, it was wider and stuck out more, so I trimmed it down narrow, and it's just a folded piece of scrapbook paper that I round cornered after I folded. I may split this into 2 cards and then use some kind of orange cardstock to back it, or purple cardstock to back it. So that sits in the pocket. And then when you flip it over, I did pretty much the same thing on the other side. So there is no writing space in this case, because this flips up the same way as it does here. This is actually, 2 pages, and you fold the one corner down and then the other corner up. I think I got this idea sort of from Treasure Books, Natasha, but she, instead of gluing the 2 pieces together, she folded them in. If you go and look at her video, you'll see she's got kind of this folded in thing and made sort of 2 belly bands with it. I didn't really care for that look, but I saw right away that I could glue them together and have the 2 pockets and then the bigger pocket. So I just kind of followed the same idea here. I decorated with the same butterfly. There's the only 2 purple butterflies in my collection. Can you believe that? And then I had some butterfly stamps that either had purple in it or orange in it, so I used those to collage here, just the same as I did with the labels, just to add some, you know, same colors and cohesiveness to the piece. Love this one. This is one of my favorites for sure. So that's as far as I got. I have skipped a couple pages, and I'm starting to work on this one. don't know exactly what I'm doing here yet. I've just torn up the page. So I think this is a single page. I'm going to probably turn it into some type of a pocket using this. So this will have something to tuck in once I glue it down, and then I will collage around it and probably use one of the birds on the pocket itself, and then the other bird as part of the cover to cover up the text in the book, and just, you know, combine it that way. Not sure yet, but that's as far as I got with that one. And then my plan is to skip a couple of pages and go on to this next one. I've kind of collected all the green stuff. I had this picture in the pile. I don't know how that got in there, but it was like perfect for this. So kept all of that here. Oh, I know how it got in, because this was a piece of scrapbook paper. And I figured, well, I'll just keep this as a little journaling card in one of these things, and then I'll use this somehow on here. Maybe I'll just have it extend past the pocket or something. But that's as far as I've got. So I still have a long way to go, a lot of pages, and then the ones in between if I decide. So I don't think they're going to all make it without this getting a little bit more spread. Like if I close it like this, you can see I still have room, because it's still quite narrow here compared to here. And most of the width here is because I haven't removed any of the ends of the papers, because I cut my papers to where as far as I could, and I've worked around the cuts. So all the stuff that I'm building on these pages is here in this part of the book. So this is my arm's length art project. And again, you can see I've added a napkin, and I think I added this green paper because I used a piece of this green paper. So it was not a whole paper, it was a long strip. And the only other thing I added to this pile was that I went and got these little booklets so that I could have these for instant quick journal cards, because, you know, they're in the right kinds of colors. So that's the only other thing I've added. Other than that, I am just working off that same pile, you know, the same tissue paper, the same napkins, to go on to the next page. And so it will be quite eclectic by the time I'm finished with all of these different colors and designs. I'm liking it. You know, I really do. I mean, some pages are pretty generic, you know, like this one and this one, although this was fun watching myself make it in high speed. Something I will say also is that from going back and forth in the book and turning the pages, you know, they do have a little bit of cracking going on, because this is a very old book, 1916 or earlier. So some of the little bits that I've glued down will lift, you know, from back and forth. So I will have to go back and do some glue touch-ups to make sure that everything is holding in place. It's not like doing a journal where you know, you are a little bit more precise, or at least I am. But this is an old book that wrinkles pretty easily, and the pages are wrinkled and they crack easy when you're opening it, but they are all stitched in here and with a little bit of glue. So I'm not concerned about that. It's just that it's not going to look as perfect as it would if it were you know, a journal that I was working on. You know, I'm more concerned about the pages when I'm doing a journal. And yeah, and when I took these out, there's little remnants of cutting in between, because you can only get so close. But that's about the only thing that bothers me. Otherwise, the rest is fine. The papers themselves are wrinkly. I just have to work with that. It's an old book. But I love it. I think it'll be a fun project to work on over the next couple of weeks. I will probably not work on it steady, but I do want to see this pile gone, so it might be a couple of days yet that I work on it some more. I will try to show you a follow-up on Friday. Eventually, there will be some type of cover on here, because there is a little bit of staining. You know, it's not in perfect shape, so I will probably cover it in something very eclectic to match this mess that's going on inside. So that's it for today. If you do want to make an altered book, like I said, there are a million different YouTube videos on how to dissect a book and cut it apart, play around, see what you can come up with. Some people give you instructions on different types of books to look for. I say, if anything, just cut close, and then you don't have to worry about the book falling apart. That's it. That's all for today. I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.